population centers, and that increase the rate of crime because of lack of jobs, lack of facilities, lack of even basic thing to survive. So I think an APC government has done a lot of studies, and our manifesto has consciously looked at this, and we will try as much as possible to make sure that infrastructure led by power, the social services led by education and health, as rapidly as possible given to the people. And that is our promise, and we have got it into our manifesto, and we will keep our promise intact. Attack on Boko Haram against the North. I think this is very, very uninformed opinion. Out of those 13,000 casualties, I believe 12,000 are Northerners. So how can Northerners feel that attack on Boko Haram is attack on them? The schools that were vandalized, the children that were killed, even the Chobok girls, over 220 of them that have been missing for 10 months are all Northerners. Most of them are Northerners. So I think one has to examine one's, I think, reason for believing or disbelieving allegations against part of the country, any part of the country. It's just really like saying the stealing of the crude of about 400,000 barrels a day. The people from Maiduguri or Sokoto are responsible for it. Most of them, they have never seen the sea. So it's just this type of thing. No, I assure you that people generally in the north are fighting the Boko Haram in their own way by passing intelligence to the law enforcement agents about their movements and so on. They are doing their best to fight Boko Haram because they are the biggest casualties. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Let's take a second batch of questions. If we could start over here on the far left with the gentleman in the third row.
Hi, my name is Cliff Stafford from BNP Paribas. What will be your number 3 priorities in terms of top 3 priorities in terms of attracting foreign investment, be it in oil, gas, power, etc.?
Thank you. Right at the back.
Sorry, I'm not clear about it. Foreign investment, 3 priorities.
What will be your top 3 priorities in terms of attracting foreign investment to Nigeria, be it in oil and gas or power or any other sector?
Gentleman at the back waving 2 hands.
Thank you very much. My name is Aminu Isiaku. I'm a doctorate degree student at the University of Portsmouth. General Sir, you are very known to fight corruption, and that's the problem with that by some Nigerians is that when you take office, you are going to start investigating each and every political office holder from 1960 till date. So how will you clear the minds of such Nigerians, the way you are going to fight Boko Haram when you take office? Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Let's go into the middle here. This gentleman right in the middle who's standing up now. Your question, if you would.
Thank you, General Buhari. I'm Abdurrafu Mustafa from the University of Oxford. I think one thing we can say about Nigeria today that it's never been as divided against itself as it is today. Sometimes deliberate policy by those who should know better. Were you to win the election in March, what practical steps will you take to address this problem?
Thank you very much. Gentleman in the with the white shirt there, with a hand up high. That's it.
My name is Samson Esebwede from Deutsche Bank Emerging Markets team. I have a question around the credibility of the election on the 28th of March. Given the postponement, there's been some credibility question mark associated with this election, which would make it difficult to accept the outcome if indeed the elections doesn't go in your favor. My question then becomes, what processes does the opposition party have in place to ensure that the election is free and fair, and that credibility issues wouldn't result to some sort of civil uprising in the country? Thank you.
Thank you. I'm going to stop there with this batch because I want General to add two questions that have come in on Twitter, out of many that have come in. First question is from a Mr. Hassan Sani, who says, young people have been engaged in this election in greater numbers than ever before. How will you keep them engaged? And secondly, a slightly lighter note, perhaps, Mr. Olabisi says, what will you do, sir, about the high salaries paid to members of the National Assembly? Looking at nobody in particular in the front row. General, do you want to take those?
Yes, I think I will attempt to take this. The first one I have here is attracting foreign investment. I think foreign investment, I think I mentioned briefly in my address here, what they need is what we need, security. Nobody will take his resources in an environment that is insecure. So that is why security is one of our first priorities, to make sure we secure the country and then we efficiently manage it. That efficient management is getting jobs and stopping corruption and so on. So really attracting foreign investment is to persuade the investors world over that Nigeria once more is forced to cooperate with them by securing the country and participating as much as possible to make them recoup their investment, because it's not a question of having a free ride. They don't invest just for humanitarian reasons, let me put it that way. They want to invest so that they can recover their capitals and make some profit. That's what sustains the world economy. So we have to think very quickly and put in place assurances and improve the system so that the environment is made suitable for investment. Corruption investigations. I have tried to win or earn the confidence of those who are scared of me because of previous antecedents. I have managed to visit 35 of the 36 states, and I have held meetings with industrialists and so on in Lagos, in Kano, and have seen church ministers' leadership in Abuja and different groups. And whatever I do at the meeting, I made sure, I said, when I get there, I will draw a line. What is with the judiciary will encourage the judiciary to quickly deal with it. But if we insist on looking backwards, as you are suggesting that from 1960 upwards, then we'd have nothing to do and we may fail to achieve anything. While we have our manifesto, whatever we do, we have to try to see that the promises we have made and put in writing, we meet them. So, but we have said, from the day we are sworn in, those who are responsible for public funds and properties should work according to the law, because there is no ministry you go in Nigeria or parastatal where there are no financial instructions and administrative instructions. It's a question of just ignoring the regulations on the ground. I think Nigerians, they have the capacity for making about 160 degrees. And I am hoping that Nigerians will become accountable wherever they are. Nigeria divided against itself? I haven't appreciated the full import of that question. We have a problem as a people, and if you are following my statements, I warned at least 6 months ago that we have to be careful about Somalialization of Nigeria. We are a group of nationalities. Let's put it that way, the way some people want you to put it. We are so many different people, culturally, religiously, different backgrounds. We happen to come together, courtesy of the British in 1914. And we find it very difficult to separate now because there is so much intermarriage and that we have become so interdependent. And our constitution has been very deliberate in, I think, respecting our sensitivities as a people, and the freedom given in that constitution is a guarantee that we will certainly manage our differences among ourselves. So I'm afraid, I hope the person who asked that question is living here, not in Nigeria. We are making a lot of effort to make sure that we continue to understand ourselves and accommodate ourselves in spite of whatever impression is created about the differences among ourselves. So I, especially when people are talking too much about religion, I said the military is the most cohesive of all the institutions in the country. And having been in the military, from second lieutenant to a general, holding all the positions, almost without the exception of command and staff, up to a general becoming head of state. And the Nigerian military has always been at least 80% Christian. If there is so much religious divide, I will never reach the position I have reached. And up to today, there is nothing you can do. That's why I'm so confident about these differences. The most difficult one is the religious one. But if we can go over the religious one, then others, I think, will be easy to deal with. So I think I'm more confident and hopeful of being Nigerians than whoever asks this question. You still insist on making...
No, that's later on.
Yeah. So let me continue. Credibility of election, 28th of March. What has opposition has? What we have, firstly, is our manifesto. Let Nigerians see what we are promising them. And I believe they will respect it. And then we are screaming to high heavens. And we are very impressed with our success so far, how the United States and Europe is openly backing us as far as having free and fair elections is concerned. We are very grateful to the Americans and to the Europeans, especially the British, that they are on the government on daily basis, literally, telling them that they must not do anything against the Nigerian constitution. And that's what we need. That's the bottom line. So if we don't, if you are not worth anything back at home, I think they have tremendous respect for the British and the Americans for a lot of reasons, which I wouldn't like to mention here. So I think they will listen to them and they will allow us to have free and fair elections. How can you engage your people?
Young people.
Oh, young people, that's right, young people. Well, I think wherever I go, I mentioned it. More than 60%, of the Nigerian population are considered to be youth. And most of them are unemployed. And that's the trouble we are in. And when I move throughout these 35 states, how some of these young men and women, from the Air Force to the venue of our addresses, to the House of Community Leaders, how they will be jogging along the buses we are traveling in, sweating, but never getting tired. It makes me even more frightened. If you get those people and you spend 1-2 years and they haven't seen any difference, I think we will be in trouble. So I'm very, very conscious of that. And there is a great incentive for me to work hard to make sure they get something to do, just to be in peace myself. Yes, high salary of National Assembly. There are some National Assembly members here, so a lot of them are not going back because they haven't won their party's primaries. But even those that haven't gone back, I think they will remain relevant in their constituencies. So I wouldn't like to touch their salaries now. I don't know whether I will be constrained to touch it when I get there. Thank you very much.
General, we're almost out of time. I'm going to take 2 more questions, I'm afraid, from the right-hand side. Lady in the second row here. We could have a bit of quiet, please. Lady in the second row here.
Thank you very much. Adenika Lucas. I wanted to say that I'm not afraid because I'm here. I've just called out. That's why I'm tremoring. But I just wanted to ask you, sir, how do you feel that at this very moment everyone is screaming for change and they've chosen, the Nigerian people have chosen you and Professor Yemi Oshibajo. They are screaming for change. I see it on the TV. I see it everywhere. People are literally yearning for change, they're clamoring for change. How do you feel personally that these people are calling for you, sir?
Thank you. And gentlemen standing up in the second row, and then I want to add 2 questions from Twitter, and if we'll have to draw a line, I'm sorry.
Thank you, General Buhari. My name is Don Oluyomi Anyam. I'm a leader in APC UK. My question is that in the context of the brilliant speech that you have given us, sir, relating to the Nigerian democracy and Africa, do you consider that the success of this next democratic process is going to be a template for the rest of the African continent? And that this APC government already has the templates in all the APC states that we have about how to govern and govern effectively. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I'm going to add 2 questions from Twitter. I thought those 2 questions were nicely gentle for you, General, so I'll give you 2 to finish up with, which are a bit tougher. The first one is someone has rung in, I haven't got a name here, has come in on Twitter and said, do you have a position on Sharia law? And secondly, Mr. Shaifi Hamidu, who doesn't give his age, asks, is it relevant to the election, your age? What would you plan to say to people about your own age? And on that note, we will finish.
Right. It's a pity we are ending up with my age, but all the same, change, how do I feel? Yes, certainly I have referred to the number of young men that have been following our convoys throughout the 35 states we have visited out of 36. And I have mentioned that I am scared of the high expectation. That's what I'm afraid of, the high expectation. People want change, and the interesting thing about it is across the country. I started my campaign from Bayelsa, the president's states, and throughout south, southeast, southwest, north central, and the 3 geopolitical zones in the north. The crowds, you can't say this is bigger than this one relative to the population of respective states. And that's what makes the high expectation frightening. Because you can't tell these young people that there are no money, or you can't put them input into agriculture or mining, something that will absorb them at least initially. Or you can't improve their schools, especially the tertiary institutions. We are thinking of quickly putting an experienced, competent team as a sort of think tank to quickly advise us how we are going to meet this problem, because it's real and it's coming, and we cannot ferry it off. Success to be sort of template for Africa, APC's role. Well, I think I have covered that really in the address I have read. Change is certainly coming, and democratically, and bringing the example of the Soviet Union, where an empire in the 20th century collapsed without a shot being fired. Everybody went home. Now there are 18 republics also. Can convince anybody that multi-party democratic system is the best form of governance. But the biggest caveat is elections must be free and fair. And that, again, comes to the issue why I am attempting for the first time. I'm not trying to impose myself, but 2003, we spent 30 months in court, ended up in the Nigerian Supreme Court. 2007, we lasted about 20 months in the courts, again ended up in the Supreme Court. 2011, we were again in court for about 8-9 months and ended up in the Supreme Court. My personal insistence to keep on going until I get to the highest legal, constitutional legal body is to document our belief that we believe in multi-party democratic system. If we fail to learn by other people's mistakes that have developed their system for generations, our expectation of getting there overnight is not realistic. But let us document it, that at those times of our attempt to stabilize this system, there are some of us in Nigeria that are serious about it. And we are prepared to make the physical and the material sacrifices, to be lasting into the court for so long. But I think for the first time, I think I will encourage others to go if anything went wrong. Now, age and relevance. Well, I'm very happy that I have been able to visit the 35 states out of 36. I haven't broken down. Somebody announced me dead yesterday. I had a call from Maiduguri that somebody rushed into a friend's house crying. Say, what happened? He says, they just said Buhari has died in hospital in London. So he called me, and I laughed my head off. So certainly, I would be expecting too much if I don't expect people are wishing me dead. But I'm very pleased I'm fit, and my doctors have declared me fit, and I'm going back for the final onslaught on PDP. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Yeah. What? Did you have a view on Sharia law?
Oh, Sharia. You see, I don't like so much of Sharia. That's why I omitted it. I had to ask to answer so many questions about Sharia when I have closed the meeting with, especially with the Christian community. The problem is the Nigerian constitution is superior. Sharia is put on the same level with customary laws. Its relevance is limited to inheritance, marriage, and so on. So people that cultures and communities accept. So Sharia is limited to that by our constitution. So anybody who wants to change Sharia will have to go and change the constitution.
Thank you. General, thank you very much indeed for a fascinating, what I found a fascinating address and some very straightforward answers to a wide range of questions. Everyone will take their own impressions of today. I suppose most in my mind will be three things that have struck out. Other people will have other groups. But the three things that I will take away from here was your firm statement about the importance of the electoral timetable now, as amended, but that elections alone do not democracy make. Secondly, you're highlighting security and the importance of the welfare and morale of the Nigerian soldiers who are up there trying to deal with Boko Haram. And thirdly, something which I'm sure will be quoted back to you, probably is already, that corruptors will not be appointed. I'm going to ask you in a moment, audience, to show your appreciation again to General Buhari. After that, will you please stay in your places, because the General has a number of press interviews he's going to give, and if everybody comes up and talks to him, he'll never get to them. So I know it's not Nigerian custom, but we're in London, so instead of flooding to the front, could you stay put until General Buhari has left the room? Thank you very much indeed for an inspiring talk.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. Thank you very much indeed.